Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are taking a winter garden tour here at the signature garden of Creekside Nursery in Dallas, North Carolina, a Zone 8A. We love to show you this garden throughout the entire year so that you can get an actual representation of what the signature garden looks like here at Creekside. Of course, the Proven Winners signature garden is open and free to the public when the garden center is open. So we will be reopening on February the 21st. We would love for you to come and visit the gardens. You can walk through. We designed this garden to give you some inspiration and some ideas for your garden, whether you're visiting here in person or you are viewing online. We like to have a wide selection of the Proven Winner annuals, perennials, shrubs, and yes, even some Proven Winner trees. So we're just going to go through like two friends walking through the garden, talking with each other. I'm going to tell you what things are, how they're doing, what our future plans are, what did we learn from last year that we're going to change for this year, and so on. So let's just have fun, get comfy, and let's take a tour. Of course, we are here in the front. Now, if you remember, in early December, we planted about 2,000 tulips in the signature garden. We have much niceness. It is a blend of some beautiful pinks and purples and yellows and all the fun tulips that they performed magnificently well the year before. We loved it so much, we're going to repeat it. So they are all planted in front of the boxwoods. This entire, everywhere that you see in front of the boxwoods is filled with tulips. They are under there. Nobody is poking up yet. Oh, you know what? I do see a couple. There are a few in there that are poking their little heads up. And so they will bloom roughly in like mid-March. So we will let them bloom and enjoy them, and they will be just really fun and stunning. Of course, behind that we have the sprinter boxwoods. When we planted the garden, we designed this so that the sprinters would be a hedge. We will prune them probably in the next 6 to 8 weeks. We prune them about once a year. So they're really starting to form into that hedge, doing great. Notice if your boxwoods kind of either take on that bronzy color, some of those boxwoods will do that with the winter color. If you ever get any of the little white tips on the very tippy tops of your boxwoods, that is simply because this was tender new growth and then we had a freeze, hard freezes, multiple freezes, and so that is just that new growth that got a little toasty. No big deal. When we prune, all of that will come off. You will also see that we have our little lime punch hydrangeas. We have not pruned these yet, obviously. These are panicle hydrangeas, staying that 3 to 5 foot tall and wide. Again, we designed this bed so that we would have a hedge of these hydrangeas together. They are definitely there. And the idea is that they would just kiss with the boxwoods. So I would say we are making great progress. In the next couple of weeks, what we will do is come through and prune them. And you want to prune your panicle hydrangeas. Your panicle hydrangeas and your smooth hydrangeas. It's very important that we prune those once a year in late winter. That way they can flush out and you can see how many blooms were on these little lime punches. I love this hydrangea. Also, we've got tulips all the way down in front of the hydrangeas. So this garden is going to explode with beautiful spring color. It is going to kick off the season with a bang. Of course, coming in, this is what we call like the formal part of the signature garden, right? And so we did it one year before, well, with the inner beds and around the fountain, we planted some winter annuals, like some pansies and violas. We did that one year and we're like, you know what, it's okay because we close the garden center mid-December, we reopen in mid-February, and those beds, again, absolutely filled to the brim with tulips. So that's why in the wintertime you may see no plants in there, but trust me, there's a lot of action happening underneath and they will be gorgeous in the spring. I like personally to do tulips that bloom either early or mid, because being in North Carolina, I need to get my summer annuals in the ground as soon as possible. My supertunias, those kinds of things that love, my alyssum, that really do well in the cool climates. It's important to get them in the ground and get their roots established before the heat of the summer hits. So that's why for us, I like to do those early bloomers and not late ones, because that delays me putting in my summer annuals. So that is the action that's happening. Now this year in the garden, our theme is kind of going to be pink and orange. That's right, we're going electric with our colors. Around the fountain, we're going to do a mass planting of the Supertunia Mini Vista White. So Mini Vista White obviously is going to be a pure white flower, one of my top, I would say my top 5 favorite Proven Winter Annuals, because it just performs so well. I use the Mini Vista because I don't want to hide my fountain. I don't want to hide the base. If you want some height and more vigor, then go with Supertunia Vista Snowdrift. You get that same beautiful pure white flower, but it's going to be taller and more vigorous. This is a really kind of a confined space, because once you look at it, we're only talking about, it's maybe like 3 feet wide. And so I need something a little bit more controlled. That's why I love using the Mini Vistas. In the garden beds, we're going to do, of course, another one of my absolute favorites is actually the Landscape Annual of the Year, Senorita Rosalita Cleome. So that's going to give us height, that beautiful pink going down the center. We're going to be using the Rockin' Fuchsia Salvia, so a nice electric pink. We're going to be using orange, so we are going to have the Campfire Bidens coming down this side. And then what we're going to try this year, because we are in North Carolina and our heat and humidity just get to be quite oppressive, you know, in July and August, we will see how some of these annuals do. And if they're struggling in the heat and humidity, then we're going to switch them out for some more heat tolerant, the ones that do really well. So for example, we're going to wait and see how the Campfire Bidens do, and if they can't handle and they can't hang in this display garden, then we're going to switch them out and do the Mojave Tangerine Portulaca. So we're still going to have orange, but it will be one that can really handle that summer heat and then go all the way through a hard freeze and be full of gorgeous orange blooms. So lots of fun things going to be happening in the interior. And then of course the 4 outer beds within the garden, this is where we have our perennials and our shrubs. So these 4 outside beds, we do not put annuals in here. Most of the beds have been prepped for winter. You can see that this bed, we still have to prune the 2 panicle hydrangeas. We've got Limelight Prime, and I want to say there's a sign over there. I forget which hydrangea that is, but obviously it's a smaller one. And so we need to come in there and just prune those. But otherwise, yeah, this is what things look like. So we've got Pillow Talk Gardenia, great evergreen, of course. Love those gardenia blooms. Pillow Talk is going to be a more petite and more compact gardenia than, say, Steady As She Goes. If you want a nice big one, go with Steady As She Goes. But you can see like Limelight Prime right here, how upright those stems were. We didn't have any floppy stems. That's why it's really important to prune your hydrangea the right way. So we don't want to cut them to the ground. Really, we're talking about, depending on the size of your hydrangea, no more than half. But if you can see, like last year, this is where I cut it. So you can see where it was cut. And then these 2 stems, they branched off, and look how tall they grew, right? So really well. Then this guy right here was a complete brand new growth, because it came all the way from the bottom all the way up. So we'll come in here, and if I cut here last year, then this year I'm going to go about 3 leaf nodules up, and I'm going to cut about right here. So that way we get really strong stems, and they don't flop when the blooms are in all of their glory. Now, This is a great Indian hawthorn. So this is La Vida Moss. Absolutely love this Indian hawthorn. I have not been a big fan of Indian hawthorns in the past, but La Vida Moss I do really love. We actually have it in 2 of the beds. Obviously, it's a beautiful evergreen. It is compact. It's not a huge Indian hawthorn. And then in the spring, you're going to have little pink flowers all over this plant. It's going to be stunning. We are going into year 4, I think. Yeah, this is year 4 of the garden. Now we planted the shrubs at kind of different times as far as like, so this is going, yeah, this will be going into their 4th year around that time. I'm trying to remember time, it gets away from me. And so we say, remember, with your shrubs, it takes the first year they sleep, the next year they creep, and the 3rd year they leap. So we're going into that leap year, and so they are really getting happy and established. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see how the garden looks this growing season. Now, with that being said, because we are going into multiple years here at the garden, we have had some messes and we have had some successes. Some of the perennials that we initially planted have kind of petered out. They didn't do really well. So we have pulled those out. We're going to be refreshing the gardens with brand new perennials come this spring. And then some of the shrubs some of them have done really well. And so we've had to move some things. We've had some daylilies that did really, really well and we're really happy. So we had to pull some of those out because they were getting so big and they were overcrowding some of the other plants. So just keep in mind that yes, your garden is constantly evolving and changing. As we move on down to the next bed, this is the other bed that has the La Vida Moss in that. Your La Vida Moss is going to need the full sun. That's why they're on these 2 beds, because they get the absolute most sun. We've got azaleas, the Perfecto Mundo azaleas. This is definitely going to be the quote worst that they're going to look throughout the growing season. They are evergreen, but are they thick and full and lush? No, not really, but none of my azaleas are. I mean, we're in mid-January, and this is typically what an azalea will look like. We've got the Boom Chocolata geranium right here. Of course, that is nice and dormant. But you can see, like, these are some of the daylilies that I was talking about. So we did have daylilies all along the edge on the other side of the garden, and they were huge. So there was 3 of them there. So we dug them up, and then 2 of them we just kept off to the side, and then the 3rd one we went ahead and divided and made it into 2. So constantly thinking about how are we changing our gardens and making it look the best, because this is a display garden, right? So we have got you sweet folks looking at it online, and then we have got all of the visitors that come and walk through the gardens, and so we want it to look as good as it possibly can at all times. Now, while we're here, we're going to kind of flip around, because on the outside, the outskirts of the formal garden, while this is still part of the signature garden, it's a little less formal, right? So you've got curves and you've got just some kind of fun whimsy. So we planted this garden right here so that you can get an idea of what plants will do well when you have got kind of naturally wet soil, moist soil at all times, because we say, if you know about Creekside, water is definitely an issue. And we do have a natural spring under the ground. So it's typically in the wintertime, this will stay historically pretty damp. All of these perennials and shrubs do really well with what we call wet feet, right? So whether you're talking about, this is of course the prairie winds, Cheyenne sky, this is that panicum grass. Panicums do really well in kind of more damp conditions. We have got your sweet and low sarcococca. We just put that in, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. It is loving life. We have got the opening act ultra pink phlox. So you can see right here, these are not weeds. This is the phlox that is coming up. Of course, we've got Monarda. We have got oh my gosh, the berry poppins back there. Look at that, y'all. They have held on to those berries for so long and have just done so well. Now, of course, the berry poppins is that winter berry. So it is a native shrub. So berry poppins is the female. We've got 3 of them here, obviously. And in order to get these beautiful berries, you've got to have a male. So we have Mr. Poppins, who is tucked back here off to the side because, as you can see, right now he's just sticks. So what he does in the summertime is he is just a green shrub. Your berry poppins will flower and have beautiful flowers. All of our little friends in the garden go from Mr. Poppins to berry poppins. They pollinate, and then you get these beautiful red berries in the wintertime. Nice petite size in that 3 to 4 foot range, so it's not going to be massive, so you can put it in small compact spaces. This is webmaster. So webmaster is a spiderwort. This is a really great perennial, and you can see how it still has that blue-green foliage. Y'all, we have gotten down to nights of like 13, 14, like we have gotten cold. Yes, we're in North Carolina. We don't stay cold for a long amount of time, but we do get cold. And I still have really nice, healthy foliage here. So webmaster is a very well-controlled, well-behaved spiderwort. Because if you have experience with spiderwort, you know that it can run. And you can see it has not run. I've got 3 clumps right here. They are still nice and behaved. They've gotten bigger, but they're not sending out. They're not being aggressive in the garden. And then, of course, they do the beautiful bluish, light purple, however you want to, whatever your eye sees, but it's going to be in that blue purple range as far as the flowers. Your pollinators love it. We also have a viburnum. This is brandywine. So brandywine is hanging out in here. Again, this is one of those that you'll get the berries on it. You can see where we had berries from last year. So there we go. And then there are perennials in here that are dormant. We've got the summerific cookies and cream, all sorts of great things. And then as you come around the side, we got paisley pup. So paisley pup, of course, love this, that dog hobble, the leucothe, another native shrub, beautiful evergreen color, right? So when we're designing gardens, we really are thinking about those 4 seasons of interest. And so the paisley pup is one that I have been so impressed with. It's relatively new from Proven Winners. Y'all, it's even actually putting out new growth right here. I don't know if Jerry can show you that, but right here we've got new growth that is popping out. And so you own paisley pup, you get the green, the purple, the pinks, the creams, all of those colors, and it will get, I think it's like 3 feet tall, about 3 to 4 feet wide. So it will really fill in this space. Obviously, we've got our aquapot turned upside down. This is a fun one. We'll flip it up. It will be right here. And then we put our summer annuals in here. And so this is how we treat most of our aquapots that we have here at the nursery. We just flip them upside down so it's not holding water, and they do great during the winter. And then as we come around to this side, this little corner is a shade corner. So we have got hostas and astilbes and ferns in here. Yes, they are, quote, gone for the winter. Not a problem at all. And then we've got the Feather Falls grass. We have got these are the Let's Dance Ariba hydrangeas. Fantastic hydrangea that reblooms more on the shade side. Again, we've got evergreen, we've got colors from the berries, lots of interest going on. And then as we move over here, this is more of the area where this bed gets lots of morning sun because the sun will come up behind me and it sets in front of me. So it's the first to get sun and it's the first to get shade in the growing season. Obviously now with all of the trees have lost their leaves, it's pretty much in full sun all day long. But remember, winter sun is a lot less harsh than your summer sun. So me being in the southeast, I'm always thinking when I'm planting and planting my gardens is what is the summer sun like? So you can't really base off how you're gonna put your plants in your garden based off of winter sun, think summer sun. And Proven Winners knows this. This is not a secret. And I have begged and pleaded my friends at Proven Winner Color Choice Shrubs that they would please, please bring back these guys. We have yin and yang viburnum right here. And yin and yang viburnum, they are a form of a David I viburnum. Obviously, they are evergreen, but they are fantastic. They are so low maintenance. They're beautiful, even this time of year with those glossy dark green leaves. Your stems are almost have that reddish hue to them. And because we have yin and yang together, they cross-pollinate. So you can see, I'm gonna let Jerry zoom in here right quick. You can see that they have already started to form their buds. So what's going to happen is these buds are going to turn into the sweetest little white flowers, and then they're going to do their action in the garden, and then we will get some little blue berries on them. Proven Winner Color Choice and Proven Winners, they discontinued this plant, which makes me really sad because it is a great plant for the South. I suppose I understand why they did, because it's very limited in its growing zone. But for us Southerners, this is an amazing, amazing shrub. I am on a one-woman mission to bring back yin and yang viburnum. So we have got those. And then over here, of course, coming in the back of the garden, these are the glitters and glows viburnums. So you can tell that I really do enjoy viburnums. They are such fantastic plants. And so the glitters and glows, this was one that the Proven Winner Color Choice Shrubs folks, the geniuses that they are, because there was an all that glitters viburnum and all that glows viburnum. So you had to have both of them in order to get the berries. And so what they did is they combined that into one plant, so you've got glitters and glows. So you can have just one glitters and glows and you will still get the berries. So you can see the old berries that are here. And then in the summertime, you get, in the growing season, it is covered in this gorgeous, glossy green leaf, not too big. It is beautiful, has a little bit of kind of like a texture to it. And then wherever these berries are, they're huge white flowers. They do their thing, and then in the fall, the blue berries come. Stunning plants. So these will get to be about 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. At maturity, we designed this, again, that these would kiss one another. I don't prune them, because if I prune them, then that messes with the bloom cycle. So I just leave them alone. We've got tulips planted through here as well. Of course, being a Southern gardener, we love having our loropetalums. So this is the Jazz Hands variegated, doing well. In the summertime, it'll thicken up some more. Right now, it is looking a little thin. Sometimes your loropetalums, if you've had, when you're getting them established, it takes them a little bit of time, and sometimes they may lose some of their leaves. Now, if you have spireas, spireas are a great, beautiful, flowering shrub that continuously blooms throughout the season. At least the ones from Proven Winners do. So we've got 2 different spireas in this garden. Here we've got the double play candy corn. So you will notice that right now, candy corn is just sticks, right? So it has been pruned. You want to prune your spireas, and you can see it was not a very methodical cut. Took hedge trimmers and zapped it. Now, y'all, I am seeing, I don't know if Jerry can get in here. It's gonna be a really tight shot, but these babies are waking up. So we have got some little leaf buds that are starting to form on the double play candy corn spirea. So this is why we want to prune them early, especially the warmer you are, the sooner you're going to want to do that, because they bloom on new growth. And of course, candy corn gets its name because it's that really bright colors, those yellows and those oranges, remind you of the candy corn, right? And then over here, we have got double play doozy. So we have double play doozy both here and at our house. Now, Doozy is not showing any new growth yet, so that is okay. Your spireas will come to life at different times, you know, a little bit on a time schedule, a little bit differently. But it has been pruned as well. And then we have got the Jazz Hands Bold. You will see that, beautiful. If your loropetalums get a little bit of burn to them, it is okay. This is just winter, again, like the boxwoods. This was tender new growth, and when we had those cold nights, we had some that got fried. It is no big deal. Once the growing season takes place, after it has flowered, if we want to come in here and give it a little trim to shape it, we absolutely can do that for sure. And then these are, again, your Pillow Talk gardenias. You can see how beautiful they are and doing really well. This panicle hydrangea is the Quick Fire Fab. It already has been pruned, so there you go. This was an absolutely gorgeous hydrangea this fall. In the South, sometimes we struggle getting, not sometimes, a lot of times we struggle getting those really vibrant pinks and reds on our panicle hydrangeas. Quick Fire Fab this fall, my gosh, she was showing off. I don't know if it's her location, because of course in your gardens you can have microclimates. So if this was a cooler area and so she was able to cool down at night and get those reds and those pinks, beautiful. So Quick Fire Fab, it's going to be in that like what is it, like 5 to 6 tall foot range, that kind of idea. Now, if you're a faithful watcher of Creekside Nursery, you know that this late summer, early fall, we completely redid this entire creek bank bed. We ripped everything out, planted all new proven winter shrubs in here. This is right now 100% shrubs. There's no perennials in here. There's not going to be probably any room to put any annuals in here. We do have some daffodils that I had planted a couple of years ago that are in here. But just to give you an idea on how everybody is doing, of course your hydrangeas have lost all of their leaves. We've got like Fairy Trail White. We have got our Stormproof, the new Stormproofs, they are in here. But the loropetalums are doing well. And then of course this is that one of the new camellias from Proven Winners. This is the double mauve camellia, right? That Just Chill series, doing great. I mean, for the first year being a camellia and looking at them, they look fantastic. These are a hybrid camellia. They are called the Just Chill because they are more cool tolerant. So those of you, I think they go up to like a 6. So if you have been on the border of not being able to do camellias, try the Just Chill series. There's several different colors in this line. This is the double mauve. It acts like a sasanqua in that it blooms in the fall. So beautiful, really happy with how they're doing, and being under this tree line, that definitely helps protect them. So they are doing great. Speaking of being protected, can we take a look at the roses here for a second? Dear heavens. Now, like I said, here we are, mid-January. We've had multiple nights in, you know, the teens and the 20s, like multiples. These things look fantastic. They are still covered in beautiful dark green foliage. They're not pushing out, well, yeah, they are. We've got some little bit of new growth, so I need to get in here and go ahead and prune them. Your roses you want to prune. All roses minus some of the old-timey climbers. Those are the exception, but every other rose you want to prune in late winter, and I would say even for us, like I can start doing them now because we want to control them and flush out all that beautiful foliage. So we of course got weigillas. Your weigillas of course will be, this is the Wine and Roses. They will be deciduous. They're going to give us gorgeous dark near black foliage. We've got the Fire Chief arborvitaes, a great winter interest. They're not dead. This is just the color that they turn. They will be about 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. So they will kiss one another, give us a nice evergreen compared to the Wine and Roses back there. The Gatsby Glow Ball, oak leaf hydrangeas. We've got the Brilliantina abelias. They are a great evergreen for the South as well. I mean, everybody's doing great. I mean, we could not be happier with how they're all doing. And then the Oh So Easy Peasy roses, these will get trimmed as well. Then we've got the Perfecto Mundo double purple. I love how they've gotten a really nice dark foliage. So you've got the dark foliage of the azaleas with the more lighter green of the roses there. And then coming across, we've got more roses, more camellias, the Incredible hedge. We've gone ahead and pruned those, so that way we have gorgeous blooms. So we did the Incredible hedge. It is 2 rows that are window paned because we want to have a big, huge display of beautiful flowers here. If you're familiar with our Incredibles at the house, those are just, we have 5 of them and they're in a single row. I just pruned them and you could see how huge they are, 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. So imagine these at maturity, 4 to 5 feet tall and wide. So I am 5 feet. So you've got this one that's 4 to 5 feet. Then you've got this one back here, 4 to 5 feet. So this will be a huge, solid hedge of those gorgeous, massive white flowers. I took a picture last summer with one of the Incredibles, the blooms, because it was bigger than my head. It was massive. That's why we love Incredibles. Again, these are smooth, they're an arborescent. We want to prune them every late winter. So we've got those going on. Then coming around, we kind of transition to a little bit less of the formal hedge with the Incredibles. We have got our Winecraft Black. This is that smoke bush. So give us nice black foliage, gorgeous Aphrodite sweet shrub. If you've got the room, because obviously Aphrodite, she's gonna be big and that's 6 to 8 tall and wide. This is a great native shrub. Will give huge green glossy leaves and then puts on red blooms. Obviously, sweet fragrance, beautiful, like deep red, and blooms and blooms and blooms and blooms. A very fast grower, gorgeous. Love Aphrodite. It is a great one. And then somebody was just asking the other day about if I had what my thoughts were on the Rocksteady Vitex. Love it. This is a fantastic shrub. So I have one here in the signature garden. I also have one at the house. So what makes Rocksteady Vitex, a chase tree, different than the other ones? Once this thing starts blooming, it does not stop. Like mine at the house, it had a beautiful first flush. Pollinators going crazy over it. And then it started to kind of slow down and I thought, okay, it got its second wind and it was blooming again and just kept on. It is also a fast grower. So as this grows, you can use it as a large shrub or a small tree. I'm going to kind of turn it into that small tree. So as it's growing, I will come in and limb it up. It does bloom on new growth, so we will need to come in here. And this year I will just do a light trim. Just take maybe like 6 to 8 inches off the top. Keep it nice and thick and full. Beautiful flowers, let it grow. During the growing season, if I need to trim some off the bottom, I will. And then we come into, this is our tough stuff land. So all of these are tough stuff hydrangeas. These are serratas. They are a reblooming. They are very tough. They bloom on old growth, new growth. So that means we don't prune them. We're going to leave them alone. In fact, I'm gonna let Jerry show you, like already, we're starting to get just a couple of signs of life here on the tip. So while it's not like a bright green, it is kind of that deeper burgundy. This is where my flowers are going to be, my first set of flowers for the growing season. Do not prune your serratas, your macrophyllus, your oak leaf hydrangeas because they all bloom on old growth. And if you prune them in late winter, you're going to cut off all of those first flowers. The serratas are pH dependent, so that means that you're going to get a variation of colors. I've told you this many times. Mimi has tough stuff along her driveway, and literally on the same plant, she had pink, purple, and blue, even some of them on the same bloom. She doesn't do anything to mess with them. They just naturally do that. They'll be in that 3 to 4 foot tall and wide range. And then we have the Midnight Express redbud tree. This is from Proven Winners. Nice big heart-shaped leaves on it. Obviously Midnight gives you an idea, a very deep, deep purple. And so we're just letting her grow. Now I will come in and probably start to limb up just a little bit. So as these are going to be my 2 main trunks, but I will gently limb it up. Of course, your red buds, nice native tree. They do those electric, like pink purple flowers directly on the stems. So before you have any leaves, it is just covered in those flowers. Absolutely gorgeous. And then you were with us when we planted some more low growing camellias. We've got Cedar Rapids in here. They're just hanging out. I don't expect to see any like growth on them right now. All the action is happening down below in the soil, so those roots are getting nice and happy. We've got a collection of 3 more Cedar Rapids. Of course, Cedar Rapids is going to be that natural pyramidal tree. It's going to be a big one, so that's why you want to have room. It is great for privacy, and not that we necessarily need privacy because that's our land over there, but it'll be a beautiful evergreen backdrop underneath these mature poplar trees. We've got limelight hydrangeas. Obviously, they need to be pruned, right? So we've not pruned this bed yet. So we've got 3 limelights here. We'll give them a shape up, give them some fertilizer. We have got North Pole arborvitaes. They have been here for a couple of years, doing well. If your arborvitaes, if they start to get a little bit of that bronzy look to them, don't worry, y'all. This is what they do in the wintertime. As soon as those warm temperatures come back, they will flush out in that beautiful bright green growth and be quite happy. Again, we planted these to be a nice backdrop to the garden. And then Jerry and I added some fluffies late summer, early fall. And so fluffy arborvitae is going to be kind of that same shape, but a bright chartreuse color. Now, they have greened up a little bit more here in the wintertime. Come the summer, they're going to get back that electric yellow chartreuse. Will be gorgeous. And then we've got some more storm proofs right here as well. We'll come in and we will prune those. This little hole, we're going to fill with annuals. That's right. Beautiful annuals to bring an electric pop. And then we've been developing this hillside. This is a woodland garden, still part of the signature garden, but again, just a little more informal because we want to give you ideas. Basically, if you've got full sun, if you've got part sun, you've got woodland, you've got underneath mature trees, no irrigation, we want to give you options because we basically have every kind of growing condition in this garden that you can kind of think of. So in here we've been developing it, whether it's with like trees, with dogwoods and various Japanese maples. Of course, we've got in more fairy trail hydrangeas down here in the front. This is the fairy trail white again. We've got those. And then we've been having the most fun with camellias because I am North Carolina and a great southern garden has got to have plenty of hydrangeas and plenty of camellias. And so I have taken that challenge on and added lots of camellias. Being a Proven Winner signature garden, right, you need to have a well representation of the annuals, the perennials, and the shrubs. It doesn't mean that it has to be 100% all Proven Winner shrubs or perennials. So if that's why you're like, well, some of these aren't Proven Winners, that's because we wanted to add in those different elements, and so that's why we chose those. So like my camellias, I've got adding in the japonicas, more sasanquas, those kinds of things to give that true southern feel to this garden. So lots of things are going on. Let's see, I think we hit every flower bed. I don't think we missed anything, did we? No. So it is going to be a really fun. I did forget to mention that between the glitters and glows, viburnums, we're going to do vermilion air. So vermilion air, of course, is that fantastic summer annual, nice orange color. The hummingbirds go nuts over it. So continuing with that pink and orange, right? is going to be really fun to have them. And plus, I have to choose my annuals that won't compete with my shrubs, because ultimately, like the glitters and glows, I want it to have the best growing conditions that it possibly can. And so each year, I change my annuals so that they're not maybe as vigorous, and so that the sunlight can get into those shrubs so that they can really grow. I've had to do that with my little lime punch on the raised beds. The first year that we did this garden, I jam-packed them full of annuals. It was stunning. It was gorgeous because my shrubs were little. Then last year, the shrubs were getting bigger, so I went with more low-growing annuals. So I did that Super Beana Pink Cashmere. Lovely. And then this year again, we're going to go with more low-growing annuals so that the hydrangeas can shine. So hopefully this has been kind of a fun and informative, inspirational video to show you what a garden looks like in North Carolina in mid-January. Stay tuned, because Jerry is going to put up the drone to give you a bird's eye view of everything. And that's why we love doing these tours throughout the year, because looking at the garden in January versus March versus the 1st of July versus the fall, it completely changes not only in the garden itself, but of course all of the surrounding land. We are incredibly blessed here in the Southeast to have an abundance of trees. And so while maybe other gardeners are trying to add trees into their landscape, we've got so many, and we are blessed to have all of the colors and textures and the structure of them in our gardens. We would love it if you would like and subscribe. That way you don't miss any of those videos that we do each and every week. Y'all have an amazing day. Stay tuned for the drone footage. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.